have an individual brain, but you're connected to a universal mind. In fact, we're all connected in this physical universe that appears to be more non-physical the more we explore it. And even time and space are just made up constructs on this playground of reality that's created with our brain. It's the graceful dance between the two that makes up your experience moment to moment of reality. Your mind is the non-physical part of you that has awareness. It creates thoughts. It generates feelings from those thoughts and from those thoughts and feelings, and it responds accordingly based on the choices it believes that are available. Most people think of it as you have a conscious mind, an unconscious, or a superconscious mind. And reality is the way that they all work together to formulate an experience with about 400 billion actions per second. You think about that. 400 billion per second every day of every moment of your life. Your brain, the brain itself, is the physical mechanism that responds to the culmination of your awareness, your feelings, your choices that come from the mind. And then it instructs this physical thing we have called the body and all the parts of the body to respond appropriately as you experience that reality that's generated by the mind-brain dance. Welcome, everyone, to Hacking the Infinity Matrix, episode number 50. The graceful mind-brain dance that creates reality. Stick with us on this special edition where over the next hour, we are going to take a bit of a deep dive into the mind and the brain's role in creating your reality. This is going to be an interactive stream, so get ready to exercise the neuroplasticity of your brain and expand your experience of reality, perhaps even altering it forever. Let's see what happens. Let me bring Ross in, and we can get started here. There we go. Ross should coming in. Welcome, Ross.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So we're going to jump right into the content today because we've got a lot going on. So real quick, if you could just tell us in the comments where you're coming from. We've got some people that are already popping in, and some familiar names and some not so familiar names and some just basic Facebook usernames. That's a very odd name. I wonder if that's on your is that on your birth certificate too? Like there was some parents with some real forethought.
I think they're coming from the private group, Ross, because it doesn't give their actual details. That's why.
I know. But if you're a first time, this is your first time with us, please put hashtag first time. We kind of like to track that and give you a special welcome. And we always love to hear from our new listeners joining in and also seeing the different locations. So tell us where you're from. We got Frankfort, Kentucky coming in, Metro Atlanta. Hi, Mary.
There we go.
Lake Canada. So yeah, they're coming in. Mm-hmm. So let us know. We've got oh man, what have we done? So we're on stream 50. Can't believe it. So and there's people out there that have been on all the previous 49 streams, and we really, really appreciate them very, very much. And so tell us your favorite episode or your biggest aha moment if you've had one or plan to have one. So we'll forth out there. Go and tell us the comments and let us know. Communicate. Let us know where you are from, first time, what you're getting out of what we're doing, anything you possibly can. Then, of course, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel at hackingtheinfinitymatrix.com/YouTube and subscribe. We're going to, or we do, have some different material there as well as all of our live streams, and they're in an easier order to kind of find. And in year 2, that's where you're going to find all of the the live streams. We're just going to start posting them all there exclusively on our YouTube channel. They just allow us to do more and allow us to organize things a little bit better. So we also have video clips there, some playlists, and that we can't create anywhere else. And so that's kind of why we're kind of transitioning a little bit. We're still going to be streaming on all our Facebook pages, and we're also streaming on YouTube. But this month's lineup of live streams are all packed with over-the-top content as we close in on our 1-year anniversary. Gary, I can't believe we've been
hard to believe.
a year.
Hard to believe.
So make sure you tune in. Next week, we have Enter the Trance Matrix. And in 2 weeks is our actual 1-year anniversary stream. We're giving away some really great prizes during the stream, so make sure you set your reminders and join us. And Gary, what do you got?
Yeah, and just a reminder, as far as one of the YouTube exclusives is the time clips segment, which are mini clips that extract from our live streams with some great gems, just kind of packaged in these short little segments. So you don't have to sit through 30 or 40 minutes of content to get those nuggets. So make sure you head on over to YouTube and check that out, and subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications. Okay, so before I hand it over to Ross again, I want to do a little something with you all, and I think I'm going to add this to future streams, at least more frequently, if not all of them. As I was thinking about what should we do that's special for episode 50, and looking at all the different synchronicities of things that were happening, including the title of the topic that we have for this week, it came to me that we need to give you more tangible and doable things to increase your awareness of what reality is, to refine and improve the thoughts that you have, and to improve your ability to feel and connect with the truth of who you are, and ultimately to play with your ability to come from a place of choice more often. So there will be more interactive components to these streams today, probably more than the normal, just because it's the special episode. But to future streams, there's going to be more interactive components I'm going to throw in moving forward, and I'll do my best to have something interactive for every stream. I can't promise it, but I will do my best to do that. So let's get on the dance floor of reality today. So remember I said at the beginning of the stream that your mind and your body work within the realms of awareness, thoughts, feelings, and responses in order to generate an experience of reality moment by moment. So if we increase our awareness of those 400 billion actions second by second, if we increase that, then the mind, we expand our ability to then look at the choices that we have, right? So by increasing that awareness of those actions, the mind is responsible for, it increases our options, our thoughts that we can generate moment to moment. Therefore, doing that expands your emotional depth and capacity. And ultimately, it opens up for that space of infinite possibilities that we call your choice convergence point. And we've talked about this from day one. Okay, so let's kick it off by doing something to expand your ability to be aware of what reality is, or some components of reality, and we'll expand and grow on it. So on the screen in a second, let me just see if I'm going to take Ross out here for a second.
Bye.
All right, and then on the screen, there we go. You're going to see a clock. I'm going to make that full screen. Good. All right, so you see the clock with the ticking second hand. All right, now we're going to call this the 2-minute mind hack. And all I want you to do is focus on that second hand, okay, for 2 minutes. That's it. Just when I say start, though, not yet. So when I say start, everyone will begin, and I want you to try to keep your full attention on that second hand for the entire time. Okay, now obviously, if you're operating a machine or driving a vehicle, you should stop doing that first. All right, so it goes without saying, but we have to say it. But the goal is to stay focused without being distracted from the second hand. If you do get distracted, it's okay. It's no big deal. Just make a note of it, right, and kind of log it, because we want you to track, how many times. Make a note of it, and just go back to that second hand until the entire 2 minutes are up. Ross and I will be silent during this period of time, so we don't distract you. And I'll even take my image off the screen, so it'll be just the clock for the 2 minutes. And so you don't have any other distractions, and you have full ability to maintain your attention and awareness on that. So if you can, keep count of how many times you do get distracted, but always come back to it and track for the entire 2 minutes. Okay, get ready, set, and as soon as my image goes off, we're going to go. So I want to see if I can catch a good time on there. And go. That's 1 minute. Keep it up. You guys are doing well. Stay focused. Keep your attention on that ticking hand. Okay, that's your 2 minutes. So, thanks for participating and doing the exercise. So now I want you to go ahead and tell us how you did in the comments. Don't be shy. And again, don't worry, we're coming back to this to give you another attempt with some added fun later in the stream. But go ahead and tell us in the comments how well you were able to maintain that without being distracted and being moving off track and thinking, losing when it went from one tick to the next. And, maybe when my voice came in, it distracted you and you lost track of the actual numbers, the ticking as it went around. Just go ahead and tell us in the comments, and so we can kind of get an idea and realize that this is a practice, right? We're building a muscle. Right, and this is one of the simplest exercises, by the way, that and one of the best ways to still your mind and to build the muscle for concentration and awareness and ability to absorb awareness of what's going on. Okay, so let's see how you did. Let's see what we got in the comments there. All right. So some never lost focus, which is awesome. Second time, but sometimes I would also notice something else at the same time. Good. Well, we'll talk about that a little later. Because if you're noticing, if the exercise was to maintain that and you notice something else, then there was a part of you that didn't keep full attention and awareness on the ticking, right? And that's okay. So 3 times, okay, good. Looked away, good. So yeah, so the the exercise we'll go into a little bit more. We'll expand on it later in the stream, and I'm going to hand you off to Ross now. Good job, everyone. Well done. Oh, let me bring him in again. There we go.
I'm back. This is a really cool exercise. It's something that everybody should be doing. Try and do it on a daily basis. You'll notice some big changes. So awesome, Gary. Thank you very much for that. So everything that makes you the essence of you are the thoughts that you create every day. Your dreams and aspirations, your memories and emotions, the love and hate that escapes your mind are all the results of the thoughts that you think. Each week for the past year, we have pulled away the curtain of reality in hopes that you come closer and closer to understanding the true power of the thoughts that you think, the emotions that you feel, and the deep down message that you project to the universe. All of this, all of it, is the choreographing of an intricate dance between the physical and the spiritual essence of all that is you. Oh, sure, you've stumbled a bit, possibly strained or sprained an ankle or two, you have blisters and calluses, but that's how the great dancers become greater, magnificently flowing across the stage like spring water glistening in the sunlight. Learning this dance isn't necessarily easy, but it's only hard if you make it so. Each learning experience, whether it be positive or negative, results in the creation of a new neural pathways within the brain. Cells so tiny, it's hard to imagine they carry so much influence over our lives. Millions, no, billions of brain cells making new connections between themselves with each new pathway, slightly transforming the old you into the new you. And so the dance continues as your neural cells are specifically arranged by what you learn, what you remember, what is experienced, each causing its own influence and change within the most powerful 3 pounds in existence, your brain. Locked within perpetual darkness, it calculates and envisions the future faster and more clearly than any other mechanism known to humanity. The concept in neuroscience called neuroplasticity demonstrates the brain's ability to alter itself every time we learn something new. It can morph itself to adapt and compensate for changes in the user's environment or life circumstances. How can something so delicate that cannot survive unless it's encased in 7 meters thick of bone be so powerful? It seems that nature has built it for survival, giving this hunk of gray matter an unprecedented ability to think its way in or out to situations that best suits its programming. Yeah, I said programming. Where it can be rearranged during the times we choose to modify our behavior in order to do a better job in life. For example, London's taxi drivers navigate the smoggy snarl of centuries of old streets with ease, instantaneously calculating the swiftest route between any 2 points. These navigational demands stimulate specific brain development into a process called neurogenesis. And this was the conclusion after a 5-year study. With the new research, scientists can definitively say that London taxi drivers not only have larger than average memory centers in their brains, but also that their intensive training is responsible for that growth. Now, what's uncertain is if excelling at one form of memory inhibits another, but regardless, this is a perfect example of the adaptive plasticity of the human brain. Decades ago, there was a belief in the field of neuroscience that the brain was set, as in it was hardwired, meaning that we are born with a set amount of neural connections and a finite in its capacity, limiting the average person's life experiences. It was and still is an antiquated perception that this divine device was a physical, non-upgradable piece of meat. But new science tells us differently. Just like the London taxi drivers, it has become apparent that repetitive attention or focused concentration is a learned skill, just like any sport or hobby. So in other words, the more you practice being conscious or mindful, the better you get at it, which is the entire premise of the infinity process that Gary and I developed. Now herein lies the paradox. As researchers infer, if we can truly change the brain and change the mind, then who is doing the changing of the brain and the mind? The brain cannot change itself. It needs stimulation in order to adapt. It's an organ just like a kidney or a liver. The brain is nothing without the spark of life. The mind cannot change the brain because the mind is the product of the brain.
It's the old chicken and the egg, right?
That is a paradox. It really is. So neuroscience also says that the mind is the brain in action. Okay, mind is the brain at work. It's the product of brain activity when it is animated with life. With billions of neurons intricately wired together, it becomes apparent that we can produce many different levels of mind. Virtually, we can make the brain work differently because we can influence the brain's synapses to dance differently. With each change or modification comes as a result of an electrical signal transmitting through the neural network, which in turn stimulates a squirt of some sort of the most powerful chemicals in existence, all together forming a very long-term potentiation of the intricate pathways to better your access to information, memories. We develop quicker response times to commonly used thoughts, habits, honing better sensory inputs to fend off danger or forage for food, the reticular activating system.
Yeah, this is a good spot here, Ross, I think for me to jump in and with another hack to kind of work with the RAS muscle, so the people kind of really understand how this RAS works and the power that it can have over your perception of reality. All right, so for this hack, all you need is the environment that's around you. Okay, so you don't need anything other than where you're at right now. I'd like you to take just 30 seconds. I'm not going to be specific with the clock, but I'm going to give you approximately 30 seconds or so to just look around your room, the environment that you're in, and I want you to go ahead and notice everything. Just notice everything that you can, and just try to hold an idea of where you are, where in this place, this space of time, reality that you're existing in. What's there? What are you relating with that creates your reality right now? Okay, so just go ahead and notice it. Take a look around and try to hold in as much of it as possible, whether it's through visualization or just memory or however you do it. Just go ahead and do that. And I want you to, look in front of you, look at everything in front of you. I want you to look over to both sides, both on your right and your left. I want you to actually look around behind you as well. So kind of just you look behind you, look up, and then even look what's below you. Just get an idea of the entire scope of where you're existing in right in this moment. Okay? Now, just notice all of that. Okay, now, if I were to come back and ask you, if you were to come back to me now and describe what's in the room, if I said to, without looking again, if I were to ask you to describe what's in the room, how much of that do you think you'd be able to do? Right? There's a portion you'd be able to remember, and a portion you'd forget after the longer it takes to get some of those pieces. And then, the more distanced you are from that, you'll forget things, right? Or they'll be placed in another place where they're not in your awareness. It's probably a better way to put it. So that's what when I give you the instruction to be aware of everything in the environment, your RAS, your reticular activating system, opens up and says, okay, what's there? Right? It has all the feelers out and it's checking everything that's around here, right? And tries its best to hold on and grasp, so that in your brain, it tries to hold on and grasp information, and the different parts of your brain can hold only certain amount at any one given time. Right? And the rest, it says, is irrelevant or not necessary or not needed, so it kind of discards them, right? And so that's the first thing. Now, I want you to take another 30 seconds now, and I want you to, again, look around the room, top, bottom, front, back, side, in all directions, and I want you to notice everything in the room that is the shape of a circle. Small or large, doesn't matter. It could be a dot, it could be whatever, but whatever you recognize as a circle shape, it could be part of something that's existing, and it's just, like, for example, the top of a container. That's the circle, right? Or it could be just something like, for me, it's the ring light. It's a circle. It's a clear circle. So I want you to notice in your environment all the things that are either the circle themselves, or they're standalone, or they're part of something. So it's a circle, or it contains a circle. Go ahead, make sure you catch everything that is a circle, because I'm going to test you on your awareness of your environment at the end of this. Okay, so just 30 seconds. Go ahead and just kind of put your attention on it, on all the circles in your environment. Light bulbs, that kind of stuff. I mean, everything you can notice that are circles in your environment. Okay? Okay, now stop. Now, I want you to bring your attention to me, to just back to the screen now, and focus here on the screen. Without looking around your environment again, I want you to tell me in the chat, as many things as you can that are a circle in your environment. Just go ahead and just kind of drop them in there, whatever comes to mind, and just kind of keep doing that, okay? So that I can start to see how you're able to maintain the things that you noticed that were circles in your environment. Okay, so go ahead and comment in there. So again, like for me, it's I've got a secondary ring light that's over there. I've got some, believe it or not, CDs. People still have them down on the ground. I've got the actual clock on the second screen over here. So there's the doorknob, I've got the lights. So there's all these different things that are circles. Okay. Now, come back to me again on the screen. Stay with me on the screen. And here's the real test now. Again, without looking around the room, no cheating, okay? Stay here on the screen, and I want you to enter into the chat anything that is the shape of or contains the shape of a square. Okay? Within your environment. go ahead, enter it into the comments. Anything, without looking around, anything with the shape of a square. And you will find that you are significantly less aware of what those things are because your RAS said, hey, I was only looking for circles. So therefore, I deleted any concept or ideas or even importance of squares. Yeah, nothing, right? So,
There you go.
And they're all around you, right? So what happened here was I instructed your RAS to bring into your awareness one thing, so it filtered your reality to only or primarily notice those things and discard the other shapes because they were not important for the reality experience we were generating. Now, how many times in your life does that happen? Where something or someone has brought something to your attention and you lose awareness of all the other things that could be potentially important to the reality that you want to experience. Right? Now, if you haven't already done so, and some of you may have, I want you to go ahead now, look around the room and see how many square objects there are that you possibly completely missed. Right? So now you can play with this exercise with a friend or a partner and give each other the instructions to try to be aware of different things and then test for the things that you noticed and the things you didn't notice. And by doing this, you actually start to increase the flexibility of your RAS. So that if someone says, if Gary says, hey, look at the circles, your RAS, because it's flexible, will say, well, okay, I see circles, but I also see these other things, because we want to move away, and we talk about it over and over and over and over again. We want to move away from the concept and the reality experience of this or that into a this and that. So it'll see the circle and say, oh yeah, and I see these other shapes as well, and brings those into your awareness. So your capacity to retain more of what's available in reality increases. It's a great exercise to do on a regular basis. It's a fun one to do with, with friends, family, colleagues, at restaurants. I mean, it's a fun exercise to do while working, expanding your RAS, which can expand your experience and your access to potential in reality. All right. So back to you, Ross.
Oh, thanks, Gary. That was awesome. So just imagine, as we've said many times, year 2 is going to be more like this. So we're going to start pushing the boundaries. And this is very, very exciting. Imagine what this can do for you. So with the different advent of modern advances in technology, researchers, they're able to attain a greater understanding of the brain's inner workings. And as the study of neuroscience has flourished, research has shown that people are not limited to the mental abilities they are born with. Even damaged brains are often quite capable of remarkable change. Like synaptogenesis, where the sensory systems modify themselves to compensate for other damaged sensory inputs. A blind person has better hearing. Or enhanced, a blind person who can see with her tongue. They just tapped into different sensory nerves. People who use Braille have increased capacity in the touch centers of the brain and the list goes on and on and on. Now it's fully acknowledged that these standard abilities can be upgraded through training and practice, like Gary just did, or even augmented by technology. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now you have the ability to choose the dance.
Like never before in history. It's like never, ever before.
Absolutely. Do you want a waltz? Do you want a folk dance? Do you want the rumba or the cha-cha? All different, and all of them are your choice. each one creating a different state of mind. This tells us that when we really change our mind, the brain changes. And when we change the brain, the mind changes. So this means that once believed to be a rudimentary biological tool by old, outdated science, we have now learned it is an ever-growing, ever-evolving biological phenomenon, not just responsible for controlling the basic bodily functions of speaking and hearing and movement, but exists as an interdimensional beacon of consciousness, something that has eluded scientists and philosophers for thousands of years. Consciousness. It uses the brain and the body to produce the many different levels of mind. And it's only when we are truly conscious and aware that we can make measurable changes in who we are and how we control our lives. Always remember, the mind is the brain in action. So who then is doing the changing of the brain and the mind? So let's delve into the research of what the mind is capable of. Piano lessons, anyone? If we had two groups of people that never played the piano, and we instructed the first group on how to physically play one-handed finger exercises like scales or chords, their brains would change as a result of this new activity. And just like the taxi drivers, if they practiced 2 hours a day for 5 days, and before and after results of the functional brain scans would clearly show new areas of the brain activated. In essence, they not only would be making a new mind, but they would literally be growing new brain circuitry. However, if we then ask a second group to only mentally rehearse the same scales and chords in their mind for the same amount of time, they would grow the same amount of brain connections as the group who physically demonstrated the activity. So simply put, when we are truly focused and attentive, the brain does not know the difference between what is happening in our mind's eye and what is happening in the external world. Ponder that. Think about that. That's crazy. In another study, subjects were asked to do a finger exercise against the resistance of a spring over the course of 4 weeks. For an hour a day, showed a 30% increase in muscle strength. Guess what? The second group never lifted a finger. They mentally practiced the same activity for the same length of time and demonstrated a 22% increase in muscle strength without any physical activity. This research is significant because it clearly showed the body as well as the brain changed before the experience of really pulling the spring. What I mean is this: without touching the spring or physically doing the exercise, the body was stronger, to reflect a mental effort, not a physical effort. So these two studies they're significant because they show that physical changes can occur by our thoughts, our intentions, and our meditations. And since we can make thoughts as real as actual reality, then what do you suppose happens when we become fixated on a particular event or thought of an event, whether actual or imagined? what do you suppose this phenomenon of mental training will manifest?
Hold on, Ross. I lost your camera. I lost your camera, buddy. Your camera just went silent. I'm gonna check on the stream, but it's on the screen here. I see you've gone. Can everyone still see Ross, or is he gone? Yeah, you're not showing up on the stream here as I see it. Let me go to the page. Let me go to one of the pages and see. Technical difficulties. We need one of those. We need one of those filler screens. Yeah. This program is temporarily interrupted. Okay. On the page. I still hear you. Okay, so go ahead, and I'll just make funny movements until I see entertain the crowd. Yeah, it says Ross is gone, so people aren't seeing you, but you are hearing him, right? Everybody hearing him? Yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'll do some mime for them. I haven't seen anybody say anything yet, so can everyone hear Ross? Yes. Oh, they can't hear you either. Why don't you jump out and come back in, Ross? Okay. All right. So in the meantime, let me kind of jump ahead then, um, and I'll kind of so basically where Ross was going was, the mind doesn't really know the difference between something that's vividly imagined and what's actually real, and so what we want to do is we want to, because we have control over what we can start to choose, as far as the imagery we create and the emotions that we summon up and thoughts that we have. That's really what we want to do for, give people the option of, oh, he's coming back in. It's almost there. There you go. Let me just bring it back in. Woohoo. He's back. Let me hear you.
I'm back.
Great. All right. He's back. All right. Welcome back. Yeah. So I was just kind of filling in, Ross, there, just kind of, reiterating the mind doesn't know the difference between something that's real or vividly imagined. And science is starting to prove that on all kinds of different levels now. So because we have control of what we can think and the imagery we can create, that's what we're giving people more tools to do with the streams that we're doing. So
exactly, and I think what the message here is that what do you think stress is doing to the body? What do you think is going on when you're worried about this or that in your life over and over and over again? You're causing physical changes both in the brain and in your body, and it's it's crazy. It's crazy, and now we've proved that that's what's going on. The synaptic level, it'll look like that the actual experience is going on, and if continually reimagined, it becomes more. Is it being done by purpose or by habit? This is the thing, and it's because a lot of us have worrying as a habit. This comes up. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! That's a habit.
Yeah.
When you instantly are reacting to any type of a situation, and the brain and the body will physically change.
That's the consciousness you're creating, right? And that's where we were kind of left off, was the
Exactly.
manifestation of the consciousness that's occurred theoretically allows that experience to find you.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. And you will begin to change your current reality.
Yeah.
So my question to everybody, and I want you to mark down in the comments, is, unfortunately we had this little hiccup there, but when you, now that you understand this, now that you're hearing it again, okay, where did your mind just go? Did it go to, oh dear, what have I done? Or did it go, oh wow, look what I can do? That's the question. Okay. And it's different for everyone. And you have to be honest with yourself. You have to look at this and say, where I'm at now, I did this. But the real question is, that's where I want to go. And now I know I can do it. So let us know down in the comments. Just one of two words, done or do. What have I done? Or what can I do?
Yeah.
Be honest. Okay. So if and only if we can directly affect the physical state of our brain and our body, do you think we can expand into our external reality? Quantum science says yes, we can. Quantum science says our subjective mind can affect or control our objective world. Your mental efforts during and before the physical manifestation of consciousness has occurred will theoretically allow the experience to find you. Still with me? Okay, people are with me. So as Dr. Joe Dispenza states, consciousness creates reality. And so scientists have been thinking about consciousness all wrong. The standard view of science is that consciousness is an epiphenomenon of the body, meaning it arises as a result of the anatomy, the complexity, chemical reactions, and synapses in the brain. To be a product of neurological activity, yet there is a great deal of published research and philosophy that challenges this idea. So with the latest research in quantum physics demonstrating that everything material at its most fundamental subatomic level is made up of information and energy. And it's consciousness that is connecting, organizing, and directing that energy to give life and form to all things material. Since everything physical is made of atoms, including you and me, then in some way we are bound by an invisible field of information and data beyond this space and time. Hence, the infinity matrix. We don't need science to explain why we can feel somebody staring at us from behind, or the phone ringing when we are thinking of a sibling, or a couple finishing each other's sentences, or a whisper telling you not to cross the street right now.
Yeah, which maybe you want to go into on the rabbit hole about some of that for you for some reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let me. Here's another. I think a fun opportunity for us to jump into another exercise that'll fit in perfectly. So once again, I have to say it every time, just because I don't know where people are jumping into the stream. If you're driving a vehicle or operating machinery, stop it if you're going to do this exercise. Okay.
Pull over first. Pull over first.
Yes, and then stop it. Yeah, or put your blinkers on. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to look at the screen, okay, and just whatever screen you're watching us on or listening to us on, just look at the screen and get a feel, a sensation, if you will, for the space between you and the screen. Just sense that, so that, I mean, when someone invades your personal space, there's no real physical thing they're stepping into, but you feel it, right? That's what I want you to start to feel here. So a space between you and the screen. I want you to start to get a sense of that, and as if you could actually feel the space and notice what it feels like. And if you can't feel it, just pretend there was something or some kind of substance that connected you to the screen to fill that void between here and there. Okay? And imagine what that might feel like. Just play along. Okay? And just notice that. Be aware of it. Hold on to that sensation, that awareness, that feeling, that experience. Okay? Now, I want you to close your eyes and hold on to that feeling of the space between you and the screen. And then think about what it would feel like if you could feel the space between you and the wall or the biggest object behind you. Feel that space, that because you know that wall exists or that big object is there, and so in order for you to bounce upon that reality of that thing being there, you have to have some sense of the space in between. Okay, so get a sense of that. Essentially, you're feeling what it's like to be in the middle of your screen, and so in the middle of the screen and that wall or whatever the big object is that's in behind you. And I want you to hold on to that, what it feels like in that empty space between them. Okay? It's an empty space that connects you to those bits of reality right now. Okay, it's empty, but not empty. If you understand what I mean, it's not tangible. You can't see it, but there's stuff there. Okay, from molecules to dust. I mean, all kinds of stuff you can't physically see, but there's something else there too. I want you to start to get a sense of what that is. With your eyes closed, just sense the screen and you and the space between, and you and the door or wall or space or object behind you, largest object, and the space between that, and how you kind of are settled in the middle of it all. Okay, and if you really want to get fancy, you can even do the sides and the ceiling and all that kind of stuff too. But just right now, just in the front to the back is fine. Okay, and you can practice this exercise as we go through. Now, let's take it even further. I want you to hold on to that feeling of being a part of that reality between your screen and that door or object or wall or object behind you, with your eyes closed, remaining closed. I want you to now think about the entire building that you're in. Okay, whether it's your house or an office or even an apartment building, whatever it is, try to get a sense of all. And if you did pull off in your car, then I want you to get awareness of that entire space of that building or location that you're at. And so be aware. I want you to sense as best as you can with your imagination, with your feeling, to just tap into all the space between all the things that connect you. Right? Because between all those things that connect you as a part of this reality you're having right now, there's something there. Get a sense of it. Mm-hmm. And just hold on to that. Hold on to that connection for about 10 seconds more. Do your best. Just hold on to it. Just like the clock we did earlier. If you lose that connection or awareness, just come back to where you left off and keep practicing. And then, we'll do in future practices, what you can do is you can expand out to then your community, and then your city, and then your state, province, or whatever it is you live in, and then your country, and then you start to get this sense of connection with all. And this is a great hack to really get connected with the non-reality that creates your reality. right? And it also helps you to develop an ethereal connection. In the ancient Hawaiian kahunas, they called it an aka chord. You start to create this ethereal connection with all things that are actually taking part in the reality experience you're having. And with this connection enhanced, you're going to start to notice the synchronicities that you completely missed before. They'll start to happen more and more as you practice this.
Exactly. And it's sad that, society has trained us to shrug this off. These feelings that we get. Oh, it's just coincidence. It's just randomness. But you know better. You know it. You feel it. It's a series of synchronicities, a connection to the universe that is guiding you to your true destiny. And here we'll step from the esoteric to the possible. When they created the internet, did they actually create or recreate an antiquated form of this consciousness communication? After all, each computer represents a conscious soul, interconnected through a series of networked connections. Seems like we're always trying to recreate something from nature, and yet never taking the time, like you're doing now, to use what's already been provided for us. Then it's just the foolish humans that we are. But the analogy is sound. As with consciousness, the internet is not confined to your computer. The computer is merely an access point. As humans are simply access points to the universal consciousness. And like your computer, as I've demonstrated before, you can turn off your connection if it's been turned on in the first place, simply with a thought. And as the physical being of consciousness, you have the ability to create different vibrational levels within your overall consciousness, creating a layered effect, in turn influencing certain experiences and thus your reality. As we teach these techniques in the art of creating your reality, they are innate abilities that many, if not most of humanity, have simply forgotten how to utilize them in the most effective way. So in choosing the experience of what we call physical reality, which of course is only an experience happening within our or your consciousness, not really outside of you at all. The immediate connection to that level of reality and to the experience of reality involves several levels of consciousness, all of which we will be addressing in our second year of live streams. As I said, we're going deep this year. Because one of the things that has happened is that by creating a physical experience, we have created a certain perspective in our physical mind's consciousness. And that has caused us to assume certain things about the relationship of your physical mind to the different levels of consciousness. So in short, understand that the conscious mind is the lowest level of consciousness, and it is not housed within the brain. The brain itself is a tool, a device, a biological transceiver of information. It's like your cell phone's ability to transmit and receive data. And like your cell phone, it receives positive information while also receiving or transmitting negative information to you and from you. Whether positive or negative, it does not know the difference. It is just a device. The difference between your cell phone and your brain, and the brain through the mind, can choose which data. It can expand its capabilities virtually at will. So when explaining and clarifying this structure, it is again our endeavor to allow you to understand the true nature of the relationship between the brain, the mind, and the infinity matrix. How they exist in relation to one another. And by understanding the true order, you'll be able to utilize them in a more powerful, more effective way, manifesting your experience of physical reality more efficiently, more powerfully, and more concise, and much more consciously, so that you can design your physical reality to be what you truly prefer. As consciousness may very well be the fabric that holds matter together, you are a compilation of your hopes, your emotions, your fears, pains, and joys, all stitched into this living cosmic tapestry comprised of billions of neural networks linked together to become this wondrous creation called you. It gives you the capabilities to connect to the matrix and access all of the information contained within, learning how to direct your mind, your energy into unbelievable realities of possibility. What if you could? Just imagine all the possibilities awaiting you. You have everything you need for this. This is your right. This is your choice. You're now in control and in charge of your destiny. And I think, as Gary said earlier, I think this will be the topic for this Saturday's rabbit down the rabbit hole.
I mean, this could be a rabbit hole that goes forever. It's so I mean, there's so many things that I had to keep out of this presentation that I wanted to put in because of time restrictions. Man, but it's all kinds of fun. So yeah,
it is. It's and so those of you that are new, the down the rabbit hole is an open discussion. So we start the conversation, and basically you finish it. You're free to ask questions about today's show or about any of the other 49 episodes that we've done. So it's a really cool. We just have a blast, and it's the same thing as that we're constricted to a particular time frame when we could just keep going and going. But if you're interested, jump to hackingtheinfinitymatrix.com/rabbit hole and register. It's every Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific time.
It's a Zoom call, and everyone's welcome. Don't always, not everybody chooses to jump on screen, so that doesn't always show who's all there. But you can participate through text or voice only, up to you, whatever works for you. But it is open for everyone. We do encourage participation and engagement, because that's what makes it. That's why we do it. We don't just do it so that we're talking about stuff more. We want to have conversations about stuff. And have a community of people that are willing to do that and participate and play along. Because many times it's not really necessarily we're teaching things there. It's just having conversations. And so in the conversations, even with other members, when they jump on, Ross and I are learning things too. So it's our opportunity to kind of open our RAS and look at what else is out there and what are the perspectives that there are for this thing we call reality in the infinity matrix. Okay, so one final exercise. Oh, and I put it up on the screen. I did drop it in the comments, so just head on over, register for the Zoom. And one final exercise for this episode. But before I go, we really want to thank you all for participating and playing along today. I mean, you guys have been doing really great, and we really appreciate that. Go ahead and tell us in the comments, how you enjoy, how's this stream been for, how you enjoy the interactivity of what we're doing and the format that we're moving towards and the kind of things we're teasing. We've been emphasizing from day one that we want a community of people who are not just bystanders sitting in the bleachers, observing what's going on. We want participants who are willing to get on the field, play and experiment with the hacking the infinite matrix, to see what happens. And as we move forward with our second year of streams, we are going to find more and more. You're going to find more and more interactive components to the streams. Because essentially, they're going to be geared towards getting you ready to be prepared for our Master Lab series, which will be highly interactive and intensely focused on shifting, altering, and transforming your reality experience. So go ahead and tell us.
I want to throw something in on there too. So, for you new timers and people who want to join the group as well, when you're joining the group, that's kind of our first line of defense. There's people who just click, I just want to join a group, and the system just kind of, we set up the system to where it just kind of bumps them out. If there's 3 questions you have to answer, okay? And we're not concerned about what you put, but at least, if you can't take the time and a little bit of effort just to answer some questions, then, and people will come back and say, well, how come you didn't let us? I said, well, did you answer the questions? Well, no. Well, the system just kind of pushed you out and such, because as Gary said, we're looking for people who, are really serious about transformation, are really serious about hacking this matrix that we are being kind of funneled into and stuff. So anyhow, that's all I wanted to say. So it's just very important. We had I'll give you a perfect example. Over the last 2 days, we had over 60 people wanting to get in. I would say probably 40 of them answer questions to some degree or another, but there was 20 people there. The system just went, sorry, you don't seem like you're serious. Yeah. So it's important. We want as many people as we want, because that interconnection that Gary's talking about, that interconnection that you just felt in your room, and now we want to go out to the community and we want to make this global and such, that's what it's all about. And if you don't have, if one of those connections isn't really serious and such, then it's like, well, then that is just going to kind of hinder it. So, anyway.
All right. So we've worked on your awareness. We've increased your thinking and even expanded your choices that are available for you to create a reality. Let's go back to the clock. I'm going to silence out that and bring this back in and do that. All right. So I'll go back to the clock here, and we're going to take it up another level. If you are ready for the next level of the 2-minute mind, and I know we've run past the hour, so some people had to step out. We appreciate that. But if you're still here, I want you to go ahead and find the clock emoji and drop it in the comments so that I know you're ready for the 2-minute mind. All right. So just so I know you're still with me in this last little bit here. And as those clocks come in, let me give you the instructions. So on the screen, again, we've got the clock. Once again, the second hand is what we're going to put our attention on. You're going to keep your attention on that second hand again for 2 minutes. Okay. And again, those driving cars or operating machineries, you know what to do or not to do in this case. All right. So anyone else, I want you to take this time to include awareness of whatever is. So as we're watching the second hand, you're still going to watch that second hand. Keep that awareness as best as you can for the 2 minutes. And I want you this time to include awareness of whatever is on top of your screen. So for example, if I have my phone here, right, whatever is in front of me on top of my screen as I'm watching the clock, so I watch the clock here, whatever's on top of the screen in my environment, I'm going to split my attention 50% on the ticking clock hand and 50% on that one element or component that's in my environment above the screen. Okay, so I'm going to split. So for my computer, it's my computer screen. If it's on a different screen, so I'd be looking there if I was doing it. But if the clock was here, I'd be looking at the clock and watching that too, and then splitting my awareness between that ticking and the ring light that's in, and maintaining that the whole time. Okay, and so that's what you want to do, is you want to include that so that you can, for the 2 minutes, do the best that you can, keep your awareness of those things, and so it's you're putting your attention not on your screen, but the space above it. So again, I'm not talking about if it's, you're splitting your screen up into 2 different sections. I'm talking in your environment around it. Okay, for 2 minutes, you have to split your awareness and your attention 50-50 between those 2 components. Okay, the second hand and whatever is in that space above your screen. Hopefully it's clear enough instructions for you. If something distracts you from either of those 2 things, or if you find that you get caught up with one more than the other, because I want you to maintain the 50% the whole time, okay, then just reset and get back to maintaining your awareness of this and that instead of this or that. Okay, so hopefully you're starting to see some of the training coming into based on all the stuff we've been talking to you guys about. Okay, we want to this and that experience. So if you get distracted by one more than the other, and you get into this or that, it's this or that, then you just reset and get back to this and that for the remainder of the 2 minutes, and then I'll bring Ross back in. So I'm going to be silent to take myself off as well. So once I go off the screen, then we will start the 2 minutes. Get ready, set, and go. Okay, that's 1 minute. Keep going. Maintain that attention, splitting it between those 2 things the whole time, and come back to resetting if you need to. Okay, done. 2 minutes. Well done. So how did you do with that exercise now? All right, go ahead and tell me in the comments how you did with that. What was the experience for you in that exercise as you start to develop and strengthen your capacity to hold more than one thing? So it's not a this or that experience, it's a this and that experience of reality. All right, and this is an absolutely amazing exercise, guys, and there's a lot more fun. I'm gonna come back to this in a few different ways in different streams, and I'll bring it back. It is different. It is definitely a chance, because we're so conditioned to this or that mentality, right? So you're absolutely right in that. And if it was easy, then we wouldn't need to be doing this, right? The purpose is to get you to build a muscle that you haven't been working or exercising, and to get strong with that, so that it does become easy. right? And then we can expand to other things, and we can expand to other capacities within your ability to hack the infinity matrix, right? So let's see what we got here. Interesting. Because I'm walking. Oh, you're walking too. Oh wow, that's okay. That's additional interesting. Way to go, Wesley. Right. All right.
At least you wouldn't run into a tree. We know of that for sure.
All right, Mary, 70%, 30%. Yeah, so we want to bring that to a 50-50 more and more, right? So you want to get practice on getting that to a 50-50. And then to expand the length and duration of time which you can do that, so you expand that muscle, and that RAS gets more flexible in its capacity to do that for you, right? So I should mention, if you are watching this on the replay, because I know some people had to kind of jump out near the ending of the hour here, or the beginning of the new hour. If you're watching this on the replay, continue to play full out. Don't just kind of opt out because Ross and I aren't there live. We will return to these posts to look at them and comment. So you don't feel you're being left out. Do the exercise and let us know what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, so, and also, Gary, if you're on the replay, at least on the Facebook feeds, please enter in #replay.
Yeah.
Because then the system would automatically send us a message that you've made a comment. So
yeah, and this just kind of notifies us that you're on the field, you're playing with us, right? So so you become one of the team members that we kind of have to bring in and give a high five to. Okay. All right. So now remember to practice these mini hacks. I've given you 3 real cool fun mini hacks today. Practice these, and you'll find the muscles that you exercise in your mind and your brain will become more efficient and stronger as time goes by, right? And that is ultimately what we do on the master labs, right? And so over time, as you start to build these muscles and these skills and these abilities, again, the more time you spend on them, the better you get. That is, until we do the master lab on time and potentially blow your concept of what time is out the water. Right. So until then, all right. With that, we'd like to say thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on episode 50. We truly are grateful for you being here, for you participating, and for you liking, sharing, commenting, and all those things for this whole time. We look forward to wrapping up into our second year. Next week is a real treat. Enter the Infinity Matrix is about how to, the trance matrix. I want you to think of it as a way for you to get access to the other parts of your consciousness that you haven't been able to before through trance type experiences and stuff like that. We have it's a real fun, cool, unique process we're going to take you through and share with you next week. And then set your reminders for that for sure. But also 2 weeks from now, we have, as Ross has mentioned, our 1-year anniversary event. There will be some big prizes we're going to be giving during that stream. So make sure you're on that live stream. Even if you have to stay up late or get up early, you should be on that stream because we're going to give away some pretty cool prizes that you're not going to want to miss. So until next time, we dare you to be exceptional, implement these hacks, and master the art of designing your reality. Remember to join us on Down the Rabbit Hole on Saturday morning, 8 a.m. The crowd's been growing. Even though not everyone's on screen, the crowd's been growing. The conversation topics are truly amazing. So make sure you register for that. Let me throw it up again at hackingtheinfinitymatrix.com/rabbit hole. And you can register for the Zoom link for that. Let me just kind of go through some of these awesome comments. Thank you, everyone, for all your support and for being here and for sticking around to the end. We're grateful for you too, Chris.
Hi, Susan, Mary, Lau.
All kinds of thank yous. Thanks, everyone. We will see you on either Saturday or next week's stream. We're excited about it. We got some real fun